Have you ever wondered why so many people read Think and Grow Rich, but only a few actually get rich? Have you also been hoping that this book would magically open the door to success, but then everything stays the same? Actually, there is a secret, a truth that very few people dare to admit, and certainly not mentioned in the lessons you often hear. This secret is not in the words on the page, but deep inside how you apply them. Today, I will reveal to you that truth, a truth that can completely change the way you think about success and wealth. Listen carefully, because this is the thing that no one is telling you. Maybe you are feeling tired, really tired of trying so hard without getting the results you deserve. You read success books, listen to motivational talks, set daily goals, repeat positive affirmations, but when you finally look at your bank account or your life, you realize that nothing has changed. It feels bad, right? It feels like you're running on a treadmill, getting more and more tired without getting anywhere. Many of us have been in this situation, working hard, trying, but the results still don't come. At times you wonder, why am I not as rich as successful people? Am I missing something? Am I on the wrong path? You start to doubt yourself, feel stuck and alone in this journey. The pressures of work, money, family, and worries about the future make it hard to breathe. You want to be successful, want to be rich, but it feels like everything is just so far away. That's why most people give up before they achieve real success. They get bogged down in small failures, in unexplained frustrations, and in the feeling that there's nothing else they can do. You're not alone. It's a common pain for many people who are desperate to change their lives but haven't found the right path. However, it's precisely these moments of fatigue and frustration that are the most important, because this is when you have to realize that all those feelings are not a sign that you're failing, but a signal for you to change your approach. You need a different approach, a secret that doesn't lie in just thinking rich or just listening to advice, but in how you act and prepare yourself mentally to overcome real difficulties. If you're feeling like you're standing in front of an insurmountable wall, don't worry, you're not alone. In the next section, I will help you better understand the foundation of thinking that Napoleon Hill developed and why so many people just stop at thinking rich without actually getting rich. If you have ever heard of Napoleon Hill, you probably know that he is the author of one of the most influential books in the world of self-development and wealth thinking, Think and Grow Rich. But what few people really understand is, this book is not just a collection of success tips or empty theoretical advice. It is the result of more than 20 years of serious research. Napoleon Hill did not sit down and think of the principles in it. He spent most of his life interviewing and observing more than 500 of the most successful people in the world at that time, including names like Andrew Carnegie, Henry Ford, Thomas Edison, Theodore Roosevelt, and many others. And the great thing is, Hill did not look for a formula for short-term wealth. He looked for commonalities, traits, habits, and mindsets that all of these people had in common regardless of their background, profession, or personality. He tracked down the core of what makes for lasting success. The result was 13 timeless principles. These are the foundations of thinking, behavior, and belief that have helped millions of people transform their lives. They are not secrets to get rich quick, but practical tools for building a fulfilling career and life from within. These principles include desire, faith, auto-suggestion, specialized knowledge, organized planning, decision, and especially persistence. Rather than abstract concepts, each principle is a concrete step you can take action on. But there is one thing Hill said outright, and it is overlooked by many, and that is, knowledge is only potential power. Knowledge is only potential power. What really makes you successful is not how much you know, but what you do with what you know. That is why so many people read this book and get nothing out of it. They admire it, quote it, even memorize every page, but they don't live it. They don't act. They don't persist. They don't apply the principles to their own lives. And Hill never said thinking is enough. He makes it clear. You have to think, but you also have to do. So, if you ever felt that Think and Grow Rich didn't work, chances are you've only grasped the shell, the core, the part that really leads to change you haven't touched. In the next section, I'll help you peel back each of the misunderstood secrets of this book, especially an extremely popular concept, but it's also the reason why most people fail in the first place. Let's be honest. For a long time, the phrase, Think and Grow Rich has created a false belief for many people that just think positively, imagine wealth, and everything will come to you. It's a terrible misunderstanding, but it's extremely common. You've heard. Imagine yourself living in a mansion, driving a supercar, money pouring into your account every day. You've been told to visualize in as much detail as possible, from the smell of your leather car interior to the feeling of the wind on your face on a vacation in the Maldives. All of that is true. But it's only half the truth. Because thinking without action is like daydreaming. Imagining without doing nothing happens. And that's the trap that makes many people sit for hours with a notebook to write down their goals, stick vision boards on the wall, create positive affirmations, but the results never change. Napoleon Hill never told you to just think. On the contrary, he wrote very clearly, "Dreaming is wonderful, goal setting is crucial, but action is the bridge between the dream and the reality." Dreaming is wonderful, goal setting is necessary, but action is the bridge between dreams and reality. The problem is that many people only go halfway. They stop at the thinking step but do not move on to the doing part. And sadly, the personal development industry today, though well-intentioned, also contributes to this illusion. People sell courses on unlocking your potential, attracting money with energy, keeping a high vibrational frequency, but no one makes it clear. If you don't take action, don't have a concrete plan, don't overcome your fears and take action every day, nothing will happen. You can read 100 books, you can write down 1,000 goals, but if you don't take action, build skills, learn to solve problems, and work relentlessly, you'll be in the same place, just with a more positive spirit of poverty. This is not a message to kill hope. On the contrary, this is a wake-up call to get out of the fantasy zone and get out into the real world and start producing results. Because the right mindset is essential, but it's only a starting point. If you stop there, you'll miss the whole journey. In the next part, I'll share with you what really separates the rich from those who just dream of getting rich. A simple principle, but very few people do it: persistent, relentless action. And that's secret number 2. We've just talked about an important truth. Right thinking is the starting point, but without action, it's all just dreaming. And now it's time for you to face this. Action, the boundary between those who dream and those who actually achieve results. Think back. How many times have you felt, "I know," knowing that you need to start a business, knowing that you should learn a new skill, knowing that you need to save, invest, build a long-term plan. But knowing does not mean doing, and it's the gap between knowing and doing that most people lose their chance. Napoleon Hill called action the missing link between thinking and success. He didn't just teach you to think right, he demanded action, perseverance, adjustment, real sweat. And he knew action is never easy, because real action isn't flashy. It's not like what's on a book cover or in a commercial. Real action is sitting down at your desk when you're tired, making that phone call you dread, writing every line of copy you think no one will read, selling every little product when everyone else is showing off their big numbers, doing it consistently, quietly, when no one knows who you are. That's real action, and that's where the seeds of quiet success are sown. You might be thinking, "I don't know where to start." In fact, you don't need a perfect plan. You just need to start with the smallest thing: sending an email, making a phone call, learn a lesson, write a line, repeat the next day, and the day after that. That's how successful people start, not with a perfect map, but with one step and then another. Most importantly, they don't stop. And don't wait until you're ready. Trust me, you'll never feel 100% ready. The doubt, the anxiety, the fear, they don't go away, but you learn to act while still carrying them in your heart. You don't have to be the best right away. You just have to be the one who takes action while others are waiting. Because real results don't come from beautiful thoughts, but from the things you do, even the smallest ones. You've made a very clear plan, written down your step-by-step goals, read a bunch of skill books, even prepared yourself mentally to start, but you still didn't do it? If you've ever experienced that feeling, know that you're not alone. The problem isn't that you don't know what to do. The problem is that you're afraid. And the truth is, everyone is afraid. Afraid of failure. Afraid of being laughed at. Afraid of losing money, losing time, losing image. But what's scarier is, You're so afraid that you don't dare to act. You procrastinate. You tell yourself, I need to prepare more, I'll do it when I have more time, I'll start when I feel more confident. But you know what? The biggest trap isn't fear. It's rational procrastination. Because that kind of procrastination sounds logical. And logical is exactly what makes it dangerous. You don't realize you're avoiding it. You believe you're planning, waiting for a better opportunity, but you're actually being held captive by your own nameless fear. You're afraid to start, because starting means facing the possibility of failure. You're afraid to do, because doing means you might do it wrong. You're afraid to commit, because committing means you might be rejected. Procrastination is the soft shell of fear, seemingly gentle but stifling action. And the sad thing is, most people don't lose because they're not good enough. They lose because they never start. Or they start, and then stop when things get tough. You don't have to be the strongest, but you need to be the most honest person you can be. Ask yourself, am I procrastinating because I'm not ready, or am I procrastinating because I'm afraid of failure? If the answer is the latter, it's time to make a change. You'll never completely eliminate fear, but you can learn to act with it. Act even when your heart is shaking. Act even when your mind is doubting. Act even when your mouth wants to say, tomorrow. And that's what separates those who take control of their lives from those who are swept away by life. In the next section, I'll share an often overlooked element that is the backbone of every journey to success: persistence. Not a one-day burst of effort. It's the ability to show up, do the work, and keep going, even when you feel like nothing is changing. That's secret number 3. If you've ever started a project, a business plan, a good habit with a lot of enthusiasm for the first week and then things have cooled off, you know this truth. Not everyone lacks the initiative, but most lack the follow-through. Napoleon Hill called persistence the glue of all the principles of success. It's not a flash in the pan. It's the ability to keep working, keep learning, keep adjusting, even when there's no one cheering, no results, no motivation. The problem is, we live in a time of impatience. We want things fast, fast success, fast results, fast money. And when things don't happen in a few days, a few weeks, we easily feel wrong and give up. But the truth is, success never comes to the fastest person. It comes to the most persistent person. Look at anyone you admire, the wealthy, the creative, the inspirational leaders. They're not always more talented than you, but they're more persistent. They show up every day. They keep working when no one believes in them. They fail and come back. Each time they fall, they get up faster than the last time. That's persistence. Don't confuse persistence with stubbornness, though. Persistence isn't about doing the same thing over and over again in the magical hope that it will work. Persistence is about being flexible with direction. It's about adjusting your plan, learning from your failures, but keeping your end goal in mind. Hill once wrote, "Persistence is to the character of man as carbon is to steel without it. You can't be strong, you can't last." And persistence isn't something you're born with. It's something you cultivate by choosing to keep going every day. Choose to act, even if the outcome is uncertain. Choose to come back, even if you've failed before. Choose to keep your promises to yourself, even if no one knows you're trying. You don't have to be the strongest person. You just have to be the one who doesn't give up. In the next part, I'm going to tell you a true story about someone who was stuck in debt, unemployed, and full of doubt, but through one small action repeated every day, she completely changed her life. And that will be a living testament to the true power of persistence. Let me tell you about Sarah. She's not a celebrity, she's not a tech millionaire, or a wildly successful investor. Sarah is a regular person. And if you had met her a few years ago, you probably wouldn't have thought she could do anything big. Sarah was an office worker at a small company. After the pandemic hit, she lost her job, her only source of income. She had no savings, bills were piling up, and credit card debt was piling up. Every morning she woke up, she felt like she was sinking deeper into the abyss. She had read Think and Grow Rich a few years ago when she was still working. She thought it was interesting, had a lot of good philosophy, but she never applied it. It wasn't until everything was falling apart that she opened the book again. This time, not for entertainment, but for a way out. Sarah started small. She reread the chapter on desire. She wrote down exactly one thing. I want to earn enough money to live independently, without being tied to one job. She didn't know how, but she had a clear desire. The next day, she took action. She wrote a post about personal finance, a field she loved but had never dared to do anything about. No one read it, but she kept going. The next day, another post. Then learned how to blog, built her own website, learned SEO, learned how to create short-form content. No applause, no cheers, but she showed up every day. 6 months later, she had 30 regular readers. A year later, she started taking small orders, mini courses, ebooks, personal consulting. 3 years after losing her job, Sarah had a community of over 20,000 followers, a steady income from multiple sources. More importantly, she was no longer afraid of losing her job, because she had created real value through her quiet perseverance. Sarah's story didn't start with a monumental decision. It starts with something very small: not giving up, taking consistent action, adjusting flexibly, and not letting fear stop you. You see, success doesn't come from a single bright moment. It's the accumulation of hundreds of ordinary days when you keep going, when no one cares, when there are no clear results, and when there's only one question left in your mind: is this worth it? If you've ever asked yourself that question, remember Sarah. And remember, you don't need a turning point. You just need one step, repeated long enough. We've come a long way, and if you're still here, it means you really want to change, not just in your thinking, but in your actions and results. So let's take a look back. The first secret is, thinking alone will not make you rich. There's nothing wrong with thinking positively, visualizing success, or setting beautiful goals, but if you stop there, you'll be stuck in a dream loop. That's just the skin of success. To get to the core, you have to keep going. Secret number 2. Action is the heartbeat of all achievement. Without action, all knowledge, desire, and goals are just dead text, and real action isn't a one-day burst. It's showing up consistently, even when you're tired, when you doubt yourself, when no one notices you're trying. And the third secret, what keeps you on track when everyone else has stopped: persistence and realism. It's not about stubbornly going in the wrong direction. It's about adjusting, learning, and moving forward. Persistence isn't an emotion. It's a choice over and over again. From these 3 secrets, you can see one thing: success is not a destination reserved for the most talented or the luckiest. It is reserved for those who dare to look at reality, start with the smallest steps, and do not stop. And if you are asking yourself, so what should I do next? I am not giving you a complicated 30-step plan. I am just suggesting that you do one thing, one small thing today. Write down the goal you really want to achieve. Not the goal that others expect, but the goal that you really want. Then ask yourself, what is the smallest thing I can do today to get closer to it? Then do it. Even if it takes 5 minutes, even if no one sees, even if you still have doubts, do it and do it again tomorrow. That is the foundation of a new future. Not from big things, but from a sustainable habit. Keep moving forward. If you want to get started, let me be your companion. Let this video be the marker, the point where you stop thinking about change and start taking action. Next, I'll give you some practical tips for staying consistent every day without getting discouraged, along with how to personalize the principles of Think and Grow Rich into your modern life. Let's take a look back at the journey we've been on. First, you've seen it clearly. Positive thinking is necessary, but not enough. Thinking rich alone won't make you rich without action. All aspirations are just dreams. Second, action is the bridge between desire and results. Small, consistent, sometimes silent steps are the foundation of all big changes. And third, persistence. Not a momentary excitement, but a long-term commitment. It's repeated action, even when you're tired, even when you fail, even when no one sees you trying. You don't have to wait until you're ready. You just have to start with one simple thing today. Write down the goal you really want. Identify one small action you can take in the next 24 hours, and do it. Because change doesn't come from one big decision, it comes from hundreds of small, consistent actions. You're still here, which means you're serious about change. And I believe you're strong enough to start. Next, I'll share with you some simple yet incredibly effective tips to help you maintain your daily action habit. Before ending the video, I want to give you a few small tips, simple, but if you apply them consistently, they will change the way you act every day. 1. Write an action diary every night. Just 3 lines. What did I do today? What did I learn? What will I do tomorrow? Short, but it helps you maintain continuity and be honest with yourself. 2. Keep the actions at the level of too easy not to do. Instead of aiming for 2 hours of studying a day, start with 10 minutes. When the action is simple enough, you will have no excuse to procrastinate. 3. Reward yourself for persistence. For every 7 days you don't give up, reward yourself with something small. A good cup of coffee, a work-free evening. Your brain needs to know effort will be recognized. 4. Don't do it alone. Find a companion or comment below this video the action you commit to doing in the next 24 hours. I will read every comment. Remember, it doesn't have to be perfect, it just has to be consistent. Start today and keep at it every day.